Hey guys, I need to talk about something today. I heard somebody he need me to be retired from the bodybuilding or need me to stop to doing any show anymore.
All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, Big Ramy posting an interesting story on his Instagram today. A lot of people were sending this to me, asking me what it was all about. So essentially, if you guys didn't see it, Ramy posted a story where he said someone wants him to retire, somebody wants him to stop competing, and Ramy didn't seem too happy about it in this story that somebody was suggesting that he retire. So I did a little bit of digging trying to figure out what this was all about, but let me play you guys the full clip before we get into that here. So here's what Ramy had to say on his story.
Hey guys, I need to talk about something today. I heard somebody he need me to be retired from the bodybuilding or need me to stop to doing any show anymore. I don't know this advice for what. I think I did well all these years. I think I respected everyone from last 10 years when I'm doing this game. And in the end, I don't heard about this advice come to anybody before. I don't know why. I don't know for any reason. But I think I did well all my life. I think the last show I did my best, and I come in the best version for me. I just need to say that because already I believe in myself, and I think I did well. And in the end, I don't know why this advice come just. In the end, I respect everyone, but I need to say something. I did this sport because I love it, and if somebody who don't like to me to compete, why you don't give this advice for some people before? I don't know why, but anyway, I will stay loved everyone because it's my personality like this, and I never change it to nobody else because I'm always feel it that way. Only the way to have a nice life, to love the people, and respect everyone. Thank you.
So I talked to Ramy after he posted this, but I also talked to one of Ramy's friends, and Ramy's friend gave me a little bit more insight. He said that he thought Ramy was talking about Bob Ciccarello here, and that was the only guy that I could really think said anything even close to this, because recently on one of Bob's podcasts, he had said that he doesn't think Ramy is capable of winning the Olympia again. That is pretty much a verbatim quote from that podcast. I don't remember Bob saying he thought that Ramy should actually retire, but he did say something along the lines of, if he were Ramy, he would take the rest of the year off. He wouldn't see me on stage for a year, was his exact quote. And he talks about how bodybuilders really hit their prime between 30 and 40, between the ages of 30 and 40, and how Ramy is kind of on the outside of that. He's pushing 40 right now. And then if you factor into that he's probably going to have to take some time off, in Bob's opinion, to fix these issues, to heal. And Bob says, I would revamp the whole physique if he can come back, return to the old physique 10 to 15 pounds lighter, and then try to heal any of those areas we saw to be a problem with the stem cells, etc. Then maybe he could be a contender again. But then once you factor in the time it would take him to do that, he would be about 41 years old. And that would be, I guess, past his prime, in Bob's estimation of where a bodybuilder's prime would be. And he says it's not going to get much easier as he goes on after that. It's going to only get harder. So look, I still kind of hold the opinion that what happened with Ramy at the Olympia was odd. I think right from the jump at prejudging, he didn't really get a fair shake. I don't think he really got a fair comparison. Immediately moved him to the outside, and he was outside of the conversation for the win, which I really didn't think was fair to him, considering the fact that he was the defending champion. And for someone to take out the defending champ, I would have thought they'd want to compare everybody directly against him before they moved him to the outside, because he was the standard set the previous year. So you'd be comparing everybody this year against him because he was the standard, regardless of how good or bad he might have looked in his individual. To immediately move him to the outside and not compare him against any of these front runners, I thought was weird. It's not something they typically do. But that being said, I did see improvement from Ramy at the Arnold Classic, and I think the judges gave him a much more fair shake at the Arnold. Even though at prejudging he started out kind of on the outside as well, I thought they did give him more of a fair comparison at finals, and I think they did work him a little bit harder at prejudging here. But in the finals, he got that top 4 comparison, and I think they did give him a pretty fair shake there. So I think not only did Ramy look better for the Arnold Classic, he moved up a placing. He placed 4th there, 5th at the Olympia, and I think he got a more fair call-out, and I think that he will continue to improve. I think whatever it is that he's doing in the short amount of time between the Olympia now has worked for him. It hasn't been a total, complete transformation, but it's working. And I personally am interested to see what Ramy's able to do with the rest of the year between now and the Olympia, because he is already qualified. He doesn't need to compete. He doesn't need to qualify. He can spend the rest of the time trying to recover for the Olympia and fix these issues now that he's shown he can improve and that he has kind of a game plan to do that. And I think that based on the way the judges have been apparently viewing Ramy, it seems unlikely that he would win another Olympia title. But I don't agree with Bob that he won't win one or can't win one. I think it is still possible, but probably not likely, just based on the way the judges have been seemingly viewing his physique. And I think that's another thing that's kind of gotten understated, because there's all this talk about Samson and Nick. Those are the main placings that people seem to be focusing on after the Arnold. But there's a whole separate group of conversation about Big Ramy. There's people that think he should have placed higher, and there's people that think he still didn't get treated fairly at the Arnold Classic, and I can see that side of the argument for sure, but I do think it's gotten overshadowed by the Samson and Nick thing. Now, personally, I don't want to see Ramy go away and recover. I love a good comeback story. I want to see what he's able to do between now and the Olympia. I want to see him come back better and possibly, have a shot at being in the conversation for winning again. Now, maybe after this year, if he's still outside of the conversation, if he takes this whole year to do the stem cells, to address the issues that, we think he has, and then if at this year's Olympia that really doesn't change anything and he's like outside of the top 6, then I would consider it. But even if Ramy doesn't win the Olympia this year, let's say he's able to move himself back into the top 3, then maybe does he have a shot at the following year's Olympia improving even more and possibly winning? I think so. But again, I do think Bob is kind of on the right track, that it's unlikely, or at least it seems it's unlikely that Ramy would win again. But I would not say that it's impossible, and I would not say I think it's time for Ramy to hang it up and retire. I think he still has a shot. I think he's still in this. And I guess there's always a chance that his friend's wrong. Maybe he's not talking about Bob, but I really haven't heard anybody else say, at least publicly, that they think Ramy should retire and just hang it up. If you guys have heard anyone else say that, let me know in the comment section down below, but I haven't heard anyone else say anything even close to that, closer than what Bob said. And his friend said that's who he thinks he was talking about. But let me know in the comment section below, do you think it is time for Ramy to hang it up and retire? Or do you think he still has a shot? And do you think he's talking about Bob Ciccarello's recent comments? Comment down below. Now, next up in the news, this is kind of a twofer. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to start the story with the fact that the Masters Mr. Olympia is lowering the qualifying age from 45 to 40. Which I think is significant. And I want to say that because I want this second story to be a Masters Olympia story and not a Kai Greene story, because I said we're never going to have another Kai Greene story again. But Kai Greene did go on MD recently, and we haven't heard from Kai Greene in a while. And we haven't heard him do this kind of same song and dance that he does, where he acts like he's going to come back. He drops these Easter eggs. He drops these hints. In this interview, he says one, and I think he said this facetiously, he hates Phil Heath. He hates the guy, I think was his exact quote. But he also says he wouldn't rule out them stepping on stage again together someday. And he also reiterates to Ron Harris of MD that he's not retired and that he has never officially said he's retired. Now, I have completely lost hope, or really any inkling, that we're going to see Kai Greene compete again. He hasn't competed at the Olympia since 2014. That's almost a decade. And I think the Arnold he competed at was 2016, the last Arnold he did. However, lowering that age to 40 would include Phil Heath now as a bodybuilder that could compete in the Masters Mr. Olympia. Phil is in his very early 40s. Kai is in his late 40s. Now, let's keep it real. Of all the bodybuilders that are 40 plus right now, that would be eligible to compete in the Masters Mr. Olympia. Phil Heath has got to be by far the best bodybuilder in his 40s. I mean, you've got Kamal El-Gargni, and I think William Bonac is also in his 40s now. But if Phil, for some weird reason, jumped into this show, then I could see it being possible that Kai Greene would have incentive enough to do it. And I think the timing of this weird Kai Greene interview right after this Masters Olympia announcement is interesting timing, because like I said, we haven't really heard from Kai in this capacity in years now. It's been like 3 years since he's done this. So this timing I thought was odd, but I also thought that actually lowering the age in the first place was odd, unless they had a specific reason for doing so. I guess one possibility would be maybe they just didn't have enough interest. Maybe there weren't enough people in the 45 plus that wanted to do it, and it didn't look like it was going to be a good lineup or a good show, so maybe they just lowered it to 40 to try to include more people. But the other possibility is they had their eye on a specific person that was just under the 45 bracket, and they wanted to include that person, or that person expressed interest in competing, and maybe they lowered it for that reason, which I think is also entirely possible because it is an invitational, which essentially means they invite who they want to compete. They make the lineup themselves. They want who they want at the show. So it would not be outside of the realm of possibility that if they wanted somebody that was in the 40-plus age bracket, that they would just lower the qualifying age. And if that were the case, I would think it would have to be someone big or someone important to lower the age across the whole board for the competition. Someone like Phil Heath. Now, this might be a massive stretch, a massive reach. But look, realistically, you've got two guys, Kai Greene and Phil Heath. They're still holding on to a large percentage of their size. I saw Phil at the Arnold. He looked huge. I saw Kai from a distance at the Arnold, and he still looked big. It's not like it would be a big stretch for them to get back in contest condition and put on enough size to look good on stage. They're already pretty much there. More so than a lot of guys that would have been in the 40-plus age bracket. They've got to be two of the best guys that would qualify for the Masters Olympia. So it could be a super stretch, a super reach. But what do you guys think? Kai Greene versus Phil Heath. Is it a possibility at the Masters Olympia 2023? Because I kind of have a feeling it's a tough sell right now, especially with the 10 divisions. I feel like they need something exciting. They need some big names in this show to get people to want to watch it, because like I said, you've got Masters, bikini and men's physique. How exciting and how appealing is that really to fans? And like I said, how many bodybuilders in that age bracket are really exciting enough to sell some tickets to the show? But the Phil versus Kai rematch on the Masters stage, now that would be fascinating. But even if you guys don't think that's going to happen, because I know a lot of you guys are no longer fans of Kai Greene or even fans of the idea of Kai Greene coming back, because he's hinted and teased the fans so long that he might do that, and I'm kind of in that same boat with you guys. I almost don't even want to see him come back, but if this were the scenario, that would be interesting. But if not Kai, let me know in the comments below who you think would be an exciting, now 40-plus bodybuilder to compete in the Masters Olympia that would make you buy a ticket. Who would be the guy that you would want to see compete the most in this Masters Olympia 2023? What would make you spend that money to buy a pay-per-view, buy a ticket? Who's the name that would do it for you, if not Phil or Kai? Now, the final story I wanted to talk about today, a lot of people have been noticing this guy, Mr. Classic Physique, on Instagram. His name is Robert Timms. He's been a top 10 Classic Physique Olympian before, and he's taken some time away from the stage. But a lot of people have been noticing these recent updates that he's been posting. He looks incredible. Arguably the best he's ever looked. His upper body looks insane. I know that in the past, one of the things that was kind of a discrepancy for him was the lower body doesn't quite match the freaky roundness of the upper body, but he's got one of the best upper bodies, hands down, in Classic Physique. Crazy conditioning, just crazy fullness. But I do know that after this hiatus that he's taken, he plans on competing again this year. I've got a feeling it's going to be the Texas Pro again, a show which he's already done, a show that he's already won. And I'm excited to see this guy back on stage. He's got a crazy physique. There's no doubt about it. I do want to see him bring up the legs. I think that's going to be what makes him more competitive, if he is more competitive. But just overall, this guy looks crazy, and I hope to see him back on stage and looking even crazier. Because he said on this one that we're watching right now that he hasn't done cardio in months, which is insane. So I don't even think he's actively in prep right now, which would make sense if he's doing the Texas Pro because that's a show later on in the season. And by the way, I believe the next show that we have on the schedule is the Cali Pro. There's no Indy Pro this year. That's done. And we know that Patrick Moore is doing the Cali. I heard that Hassan Mustafa might be doing the Cali. Tonio Burton, he's doing the Cali show. So that show's starting to take shape, and I'm going to give you guys that lineup when it comes out, so stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.